before we hear from the man that you came here to see, I have no illusions, I just have to make my pitch for why you're here, I hope at least partly, and that's to support our great nonprofit endeavor in journalism, the Nevada Independent, and we are now more than 6.5 years old. I have never been more aware of the threat to this country, to democracy, of what we call news deserts, where, as you know, the outlets are evaporating all the time, lack of money, the models just aren't working. And so thanks to an incredibly dedicated staff, some of them are here tonight, and the culture that we built at the Independent, we hope to become an institution in Nevada for a long time to come. And our commitment to Reno, you know, half my staff lives in Reno now, and so we hope to be doing even more in Reno. So thank you for supporting us. Tell all your friends. You can even tell your enemies to support us. We really believe in the cause, so thank you for coming. I also want to thank our sponsors tonight. Let me read them off real quickly. The NV Energy Foundation, the Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce, the National Automobile Museum, EDAWN, the Abbey Agency, Western States Petroleum Association, the DeCastro Verde Law Group, Nevada Donor Network, and Jill and Par Tolls. Let's have a round of applause.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So, just in case you don't know, I'm going to read a very brief bio of Jeremy Renner. I knew a lot about Jeremy before this because, as some of you in this audience know, I'm a movie freak, and I'm not going to fanboy out too much, but we are going to end when you're all going to participate in Jeremy Renner movie trivia, so stick around for the whole way. Jeremy Renner is an actor and a musician who came to Northern Nevada, is it almost a decade ago now?
Yeah,
wow, it's amazing.
9 years.
He's been part of not one, but two remarkably successful franchises, the Mission Impossible and the Avengers franchises. But he's done much more than action movies, as some of you may be aware, with his best work in this wannabe, frustrated movie critics' estimation, coming in his intense character roles, such as the Hurt Locker in The Town. You can applaud. Jeremy, as you may know, was a big advocate during the last legislative session for a film tax credit bill, and he wanted it amended to include more than just Clark County. How'd that go for you?
Well, I killed it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't want to kill it, but, you know.
We're going to talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, a lot more. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's give another warm Reno welcome for Jeremy Renner.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
So, first things first, I got to say this unabashedly, man. You look great. I mean, eight months.
I mean, it's the lighting, I think, probably.
A lot of people are thinking, God, he looks a lot better than the moderator. And I didn't have a 14,000 pound snowplow run. Tell people how you're really doing. I mean, last time I saw you were walking with a cane. Now you're walking. It seems fine. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm actually in a pretty good spot, man. I'm breathing and happy, right? You know, it's like it was next breath, the next breath, the next step, the next step, and it's progressed into, I feel like I never feel normal, right? I never have in my life, right? But and I like that about me. But yeah, I'm not dominated by pain or limitations so much, and so I'm pretty happy about that. You know, I can sit here and not think about anything else besides just being here, which is really great. To be very, very present in life is a wonderful gift, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so are we. I mean, it was like 2 days after the accident. You were already talking. What did the doctors say? I mean, was it because you were in great physical shape beforehand that saved you? Was it a miracle? What was it?
I think I'm a stubborn son of a bitch. Yeah, that's what it is. That's probably I can be a handful, you know, when it comes to certain principles and things, and living is one of them. I'm pretty stubborn when it comes to that, and I'm the oldest of 7 kids, and I'm wonderfully hard and loving to my entire family. It's very big and close, and there's lots of reasons for me to continue because of them, you know. If I think about, you know, an impetus to continue was, because I was fine going, right? But the reason to continue, it would have been so stupid if I would have passed, right? But I guess you know, there's other things that I had to do, and it would have been tragic and terrible for other people. That's why I was so sorry to a lot of people. I had to go and apologize and say sorry to all the nurses at the ICU that put me back together, right? You know, made me bionic. Yeah, these metal parts of my body, which is, you know, I didn't know any better. I was just blessed to get another shot at something, and the shot at something is just much more focused now, which is a wonderful, wonderful gift that came out of it. Being here, part of our discussion will be about a foundation, and just like what the renovation show was, and all these things that are much more focused on the things that make me happy and that drive me forward, and the reason why I believe that I'm here. So everyone's in on the joke, or everyone's in on the narrative of my life now, which is a great thing. I'm not just Hawkeye now. I'm like, oh wait, you're that guy.
Yeah.
Not Hawkeye, you're that guy.
Yeah.
that somehow died and came back, right? And then, but there's a lot of things I do and can share. Probably won't in this setting, but can share about that. And I'm just going to do things in life instead of talk about it. So.
But were you? I mean, from everything I know about you, you were a pretty focused and intense guy before this happened.
Yeah. But everyone's in on it now, right? Now that everyone now gets it, right? It's not. I'm that guy now, right?
Do you have a sense now that that you look at life differently and you want to do more? Because you were doing a lot before.
No, I don't look at it any differently. Okay. It's everybody else looks at it a little bit differently now with me.
Right.
I was already kind of looking at it that way. But it's great. So it's a lot easier nowadays. It's wonderful to be here.
So talk about being here. You grew up in Modesto, but you had come to Northern Nevada to ski, I understand.
Yeah.
So what made you? I mean, at some point you decided, you know what? I'm going to go live there. I'm going to move up there and little ways outside of Reno. How did you make that decision?
Yeah. Well, I moved from Modesto down to Los Angeles to embark on a film career, try to figure that out, right? And I had to be there as a young actor, as a young kid, as 21, 22 years old, to figure out my life down there. And kind of had to be there for it. Once I got to a point in my career, luckily I didn't have to be there anymore. And that's when I came out here. So I would have done it even much longer before if I could. If industry was here, I would have been here.
Right.
But yeah, I love being here. It's always been my happy place in life. As a child, from skiing and teaching skiing here, and now coming back, when I started like 9-10 years ago. It's been just a wonderful, wonderful place. It's a great community. It's got 4 seasons. It's got community. That's why I'm so invested and involved in the community here. Can't do that in Los Angeles. It's really, it's a big city and all that. It's just, it doesn't allow for you to even know your neighbor, let alone get involved. So it was really important for me to discover who I am more here in this community, and that's what I've done. I've really grown as a man since I've been here.
You could have moved anywhere, though. You said the 4 seasons, and obviously there's skiing, but there must have been something else about this area that attracted you to it, no? I mean, don't you know Vegas is better?
No. Don't be divisive. It's not north-south, this thing. I have all Nevadans, right? What about Elko?
Yeah, exactly. I shouldn't have left out.
Elko might be better.
You're right.
They might have more water than Vegas.
That's right. That's very true.
We're not here to beat up on Vegas, man. I'm not that guy. I'm here to unite things. I'm not divisive. That's why I don't like politics. I like uniting people for things. I like to united in this. When you're united, it's what love is, what humanity is. It's humane. It's beautiful. That's what I'm about, man. So that's why I do love this community. It's this community. I was just doing a Make-A-Wish Foundation. They had a great event last week, and like 460 people showed up. It's 6:30 in the morning, y'all. I mean, they got me out of bed. Like, oh my God, really? You have to do it at 6:30? And it's a fundraiser and this whole thing, right? And they really doubled in size the amount of people that showed up, and like that just says a lot about this community. And it really just doubles down and it warms my heart that this community shows up for this community, right? And it just makes me so proud to be, involved here. And I love that. I love that.
And you're going to get
tangible, right? It's a tangible exchange you can have with people.
It seems like you want to get even more involved than you have been to and more publicly. Let's talk about this.
I'm not doing politics.
No, we'll get to that.
Right, Hillary? Where are you?
Well,
Where are you at? Yeah, I'm not doing your job. Your job's terrible.
Well, I was going to ask
you. You do a great job at it, but I don't want no part of it.
I mean, you're making me change the script, but you can't go from mayor of Kingstown to mayor of Reno. I mean,
I can imagine. Yeah, Mike McCluskey would be a good mayor for Reno, right?
Exactly. McCluskey would be.
He actually would be a pretty good mayor for Reno. But I'm not Mike McCluskey.
The shoes are too big to fill, anyhow.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about your foundation, which I think you're really proud of starting. I want to read just what you said about it, and I want you to talk a little bit about what you're trying to do with it. It's called the Renovation Foundation. Kids need to have opportunities. When they have opportunities, our communities can grow. Kids deserve the opportunity to see, to touch, to feel, to learn, to grow, and at least it's there on the shelf for them to grab at. And if it's not there, they won't know about it. Now that's kind of ethereal and sounds nice, but tell me what you mean specifically.
Yeah, I mean it's based off the show, right? But we're not even limiting it to being a vehicle based. I was just taking surplus of government stuff, which is waste, which I didn't like, and then giving it back to kids somehow, some way that worked for them. But I think it's a birthright that a child should have opportunities in this life. It's the future of our community, it's the future of our country, it's the future of this planet, this youth. Our youth deserves the opportunity, deserves to be challenged, deserves all of it, right? And it's not everybody gets it. Sadly, and when a lot of my friends are here, then they tell me more than I want to know, because I'm very sensitive to kids, especially kids in not great situations, and how to help them, and give them skill sets, and consistency, continuity that breeds confidence. When you plant seeds of hope, when you always have a light on for somebody, that's going to do nothing but build community. It builds love, it builds hope, it builds a lot of great things. And when you start there, I think every community, especially like a community like Reno and surrounding areas, or anywhere even in Nevada, I think there's nothing but glory that comes from that. So that's what I intend to do and will always do. It's just how I breathe in life anyway, just being the oldest of 7 kids. It's just in my nature and nurture to be able to do that. And then now, getting famous as Hawkeye, not that guy, right? Yeah. I got a real voice and effect for kids, right? It's the coolest thing that a kid in the Make-A-Wish Foundation wants me to be part of their wish. You know what an honor that is to me? Yeah. Because, there's a lot of famous people, but to be famous to a kid is very different. You have to understand this, right? Because it was torture for me prior. Being famous for adults was not good for me. I hated it. All these people dressed up as Hawkeye, they were too old to fit in that costume, first of all. I don't want to fight with you. As soon as we got the kids, once the kids got involved in it, like, wow, I can be a voice for kids and help kids. Like, wow, it became, my life changed, right? And this is back when this is like 5-6 years ago when Endgame came out. This is the last Avenger movie, right? Yeah. And my life changed then. I had real purpose to have celebrity. That it had real purpose that made sense to me, that made me feel alive and love and all these amazing things. And that's why the show came about. And then now this is just a version of the show that's just gonna be way more. I don't need Disney to tell me if we're filming or not. I don't need the cameras to do it either. I can still keep it in this community and have a giant effect on one kid, or let it be 1,000 kids. But it starts with one. And that's my intention, and that's what I intend to do and will do until my dying days.
Good for you. Yeah. By the way, in case anybody here doesn't know, and I only know it from a distance now, I've seen it on social media, you seem to have an incredibly wonderful relationship with your daughter, which I'm sure inspires you as well. Is that part of it or not?
Oh, yeah. She's been part of the show and helping to design some of the vehicles.
Yeah.
Always needed her opinion as a kid.
Yeah.
Right? You know, especially for the Reno bus, the Big Brothers Big Sisters one. You guys might have seen it
Yeah.
run around. I love it. So proud of that bus, right? Yeah, that was a very important bus for us and for Big Brothers Big Sisters. And yeah, she was a big part of the helping in the design of that. So we have a wonderful relationship. It's very adult, I guess, in a way. It's not father-daughter when it comes to those sort of things. We learn and grow and teach each other as we go, you know. I've already kind of, she's 10, right? So
right.
she's a young lady at this point,
Yeah.
you know. She's pretty exceptional, you know. I'm inspired by her, and as much as she is to me. And I feel very blessed to be your daddy.
Yeah, good for you, man. Good for you. I have an 11-year-old stepdaughter. I know exactly what you're talking about. I adore her more than life. And you look at him and you say, you know, and you look at, you can do a lot more, obviously, now with this foundation. But and you're probably talking to a lot of people because you seem like the kind of guy who absorbs as much information as you can. There's so many complex problems confronting kids these days that you and I, and you're about 10 years younger than I am, but that we didn't have to, our parents didn't have to deal with. And there's all kinds of stuff that inhibits kids from prospering, from being able to reach their full potential. So how do you address it? You and I both know it's not just about money. It's not just about Jeremy Renner being a hero to a kid at a Make-A-Wish Foundation fundraiser, which is wonderful. You got to do. It's complex, right?
Yeah. Well, you can't take the complexity though. It's there. You acknowledge it, but it's just like, let me compare it to my recovery, or when I was ran over. I had to only worry about my next breath.
Yeah.
I had to keep breathing, right? You had to walk. You have to put one foot in front of the other, and then do it again, and then you're walking. So you don't worry about sprinting or anything else, or the complexity of whatever a child might be going through, or what the harrowing situations might be or not be. You worry about the next step, the next breath. You don't overcomplicate it too much. I think that's the best way in problem solving. You do have to consider the overall perspective of it. But to have any effect, you still got to take your next breath.
Yeah.
You still got to take your next step. And the same, I think, with helping a child, or I think it's how I want to address it. To me, it's always, I deal with things in a fun way. Like, I'm going to be hosting camps all at the UNR's 4-H on the lake all next year. I'm taking that camp over, and I'm going to host things with CPS, with foster care, the foster families and their kids. I'm going to do a whole cool weekend with foster families. I'm going to take the bigs at Big Brothers Big Sisters, host a cool thing for them so all the bigs can get together. I'll do a day thing for the kids, just a lot of stuff within the community, but using fun and uniting collective ideas and support, so we're not alone in any of this that we do. Because it sucks to be alone, right? Any of us, when we feel alone, it really sucks. But when you're united in a common idea, wow, it's super, then it's fun. You can make you can take something that may not sound fun, but you can make it fun. We can control the narrative of taking, kids and, someone's dying, right, and make a wish or a thing. We're not talking about that. We're going to go give them the best day or the best week or the best every day of their life until they go or not, right? So you just move forward the narrative and unite a common cause and common ideas, and then you're going to win at life, man. You're going to win at life. You're talking to a guy that's winning every fucking day.
I actually think it's a great analogy that you make to your recovery, just one day at a time, one thing at a time, and that's the message that I guess you're going to try to impart, which is that life is hard, life will throw you curves. Not quite everybody has the curveball you were thrown, but still to give these kids hope. That's probably the most important thing.
That's the greatest, I think, for any of us. I think we all need something to look forward to. Adults, kids. I mean, I think the pandemic was a big part of that for a lot of people. Could realize there's some silver lining, I think, in the pandemic of like realizing we all need something to look forward to, right? You know, it's very, very, very important. Very important. So I think the value of that, I think people can really palate now since the pandemic. I think that becomes a real palatable, valuable thing.
How much of your time are you able to devote to this foundation?
It's, my next breath is saying the same thing, brother.
Yeah.
And then I have another breath right after that saying the same damn thing. Yeah. So yeah, it's my life. It's what my life is. Now it's just focused on, now it has a logo. You know what I mean? So look, here's an example. You know, not off topic really. I had 35 people at my house hosting a 4th of July party up at my house here in Reno, right? And I do it kind of every year. This year is a little bit bigger because the whole family kind of wanted to come around because it's even more special that we could all get together for,
right.
You know. And it was for 3 weeks. Nobody left. It was supposed to be for like the 4th of July weekend. 30 people for 3 weeks. So, you know, it is my life, right? And it's like, it's called Camp Renner at my house anyway, right? For a reason. It's just sort of what my life is, and it's what my enjoyment is. I love to be able to provide joy and laughter and love and kindness to people, whether it be friends, family, and especially kids. Give them hope, man, right? So simple. So, and my life's got a logo now.
So, speaking of hope,
yeah,
and dreams, and
I don't know about dreams.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the film tax credit. Because I know you're actually pretty passionate about it. You and I had a brief conversation about it during the legislature.
Yeah.
Is that the worst process you've ever endured?
No. It wasn't. It was new. There's a film thing. There's first of all a bill. I know nothing about politics, by the way, and I don't even try to pretend I do. But what I do know is like when something is a little slippery, a little greasy, and I didn't like it. But I learned about something that I did like. It's something I thought about, and it's this film tax credit. It's trying to get the film industry here in a real way. I have to go to Atlanta all the time. There's giant industry there. The last movie I filmed in LA was 2002. We're always filming in Atlanta or out of the country because of film tax credits. That's where the money goes because they'll get more money back on their films. So they were trying to get it done here. And it wasn't about giving the tax credits to all the studios. I was excited about it. And the bill was actually pretty dang good. It was just a little short-sighted because it's only for Clark County. And because Sony was involved in all these type of things. So I had to scream and shout that I got a problem with this. Like, what about us? Don't box us out up here in Reno. I would scream, right? And so the next 2 weeks was pretty gnarly. I don't even remember when this was. When was this?
June.
Yeah, June. So like,
May and June.
Yeah, I'm limping around like I'm in a lot of pain. I remember in June, but I really had to scream and shout about this because I was so excited about the prospect of really diversifying the economy here in Nevada and not just be gaming, right? Let's create an amazing career choices for our youth to be excited about. How cool would it be to your son can go, intern as a junior in high school on the Mayor of Kingstown that's filming here, or a Hawkeye, or whatever. It would be so awesome that these opportunities would be for kids. Would keep, and the colleges being involved. It creates so many jobs, you guys. I do this for a living. It creates so many amazing careers. And so I was really for this thing, but then, I had to scream and shout that, what about the rest of, the Nevadans And it can't just be Clark County, because this is state money that's used, right? It's tax incentives to come film here. So this is state money. So it should be for every Nevadan. And why I care about this is because the job creation. I don't let it be about another industry. I just want another industry here. I want our youth to be excited and not leave here when they graduate high school. I want them to stay here. I want them to be excited about the jobs that are be available here for any of us, for all of us. I mean, there's people that work in trades here that are also part of filmmaking. They're even in chefs, community, restaurants. That's a huge part of filmmaking. There's so many different trades that people can be, yeah. That's a good restaurant. Tequila! But that's why I care about it. I don't care about it that it's the film industry. I care and was excited about all the exciting jobs that can be created for Nevadans. As a Nevadan, I want my daughter to go to UNR and be excited and stay here and go and work here, right? And same for all the kids in high school right now. I would love for them to be so excited to stay in this community because there's a really good job waiting for them if they're not already interning for it now, right? All that does is grow this community, period. It grows the community, right? I think that's awesome. It's the biggest little city in the world. Let's keep it that way, right? I think that's awesome. So that's why I was kind of fighting, screaming, and shouting for it to be for all Nevadans, right? And it is an industry I think is very exciting. And just by proximity, when it comes to, like, if I think about it as a studio head, which I do talk to often, right? It's an absolute layup just by proximity. Because we're so close, there's no stages and places to film. We also have a beautiful landscape of where we are. We got high desert, we got Virginia City, we got Tahoe, right? But you can create real industry here. It's beautiful, and we do have water. And I don't want to bang on Vegas. I don't want to bang on Vegas. Because I want Vegas involved too, because it's an entertainment capital of the world as well. Let it be in film as well. I just think it's a great opportunity, and I hope, working with GoEd is what I've been talking to now. It just kind of works with the governor's office, and in a real sort of way, in a real bill to really be possible to pass. And when the community gets involved in it and has real knowledge of it, and I'll scream and shout till the cows come home. I'm just here because I want to do good for this community, and that's what it's about, period. So.
You do know when we turn on our faucets in Vegas, water does come out. You are aware of this, right?
It's leased. It's leased water. It's rented.
Oh my God!
It's being trucked in.
It's being trucked in. But let's talk. I mean, film tax credits. Tax credits.
I'm not banging on Vegas.
No,
I love
okay.
Vegas.
That's okay.
It's also because I've been working with Mark Wahlberg, who also has been kind of a big voice on the bill, right? But he got more educated. Again, doesn't like politics like me, the same thing. But he wanted to create more jobs. He was all part of this bill as well. So we spoke, and he's on my side, which is the side of, like, everyone deserves this thing for the state of Nevada. It shouldn't just be just for Clark County, right? So I'm sure I'll talk to him and get him wind on this new bill, so it becomes a little bit more clear and easier for government to be able to pass this thing and be able to create some real jobs here.
So he didn't tell you butt out, Jeremy?
No, it's the opposite. No, the opposite. The opposite. We're in hand in hand. I think the only person that I'm not getting into that.
No, please.
That's a political thing. There's some greasy fingers in here. I'm not going to say.
Oh, please.
Not here, but
go ahead, please.
No, please. You know what I'm talking about. It's lobbyists. They're not.
So besides making news about your foundation, I think you're making a different kind of news too. There's a new bill. You've been talking to the governor's office and some legislators. Tell me what it would do.
It's just simplified. It's a more simplified idea. Look, there was a lot of money kind of being exchanged and a lot of money asked, and it's a lot when, I always think, I'm an actor. I always have to look at someone else's perspective all the time. If I'm a governor or anybody else, really, or anybody in the assembly, like where I was at, they have to look at a lot of different things. I mean, the A's are trying to come in. The Raiders just came in. Big stadium. That's kind of privatized money. What are we really getting out of the state from the Raiders stadium? Like, all these things, I have to take into consideration. And I'm just Jeremy. I'm just a guy just saying, hey, man. But I have to look at all these things, right? And I know that's what the governor has to do. And I I think the focus and narrative is about job creation, career creation. That's it, period. It's not about tax incentives and this and that and this and that. It's not about that. The growth of the economy and diversifying the economy and job creation is where this bill should be focused, if I have a say in it, because that's what it is.
Well, obviously, in all these things, the devil's in the details, and
Yeah. That's not my zeitgeist. That's not.
It isn't. But I mean, you've been talking to the governor. What do you sense that he thinks could be enacted here?
In the little I know in it, or the lot that I do know, I think, I feel like the bill that we did have was a little too complicated. I think there was two different bills that they put together and made it mushed into one. It was a big real estate deal, which is awesome because it's about education and UNLV and all this sort of stuff and land grab and building. But then it's also about the tax incentive. So I think it was all too much at once when you do have the athletics, they're still trying to figure out and all these other things, right? Just like I just finished with Tesla, all these things, right?
Right.
So I think with GoEd, we're cherry picking all the great things of that bill and making it up for all Nevadans. And I think there's a shot at it really being able to push through.
So it's streamlining what existed, making it simpler, and have a solid outside of Clark County component as well.
Correct.
And is this something that we have to wait until 2025 to see? Do you get a sense?
I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, man. I'm not the governor either. I don't make these decisions. But can it happen sooner? I don't know. I don't work in politics, man. Yeah. I'm here to, I'll do anything I can.
That you didn't hear the word special session come out of the governor's mouth?
I know that's always kind of an option. I learned from lobbyists and politicians and all these people, right, Hillary? Now she actually hasn't been too involved. She's like, that's like state stuff. I got to worry about Reno.
But the Jeremy Renner special session, is it coming?
I mean, invite me, I'll go.
Have you been?
I got something to say about it.
Have you been talking to legislators as well since the session about this whole concept?
Yeah. With all that, this is where it's all very new to me. I don't know, man. It's a lot of. I gravitated to having a real understanding that politics is public service, and those that are good politicians serve the public, right? And I think that gets lost a lot.
That's partly
and on
their
the local
fault.
level, it should not, right? That's where you can actually be effective and really represent your communities and a thing. And so I don't mind it so much in there. As soon as you go above that, it's, we can get lost in that. But yeah, so I've been speaking with a lot of people. There's a lot of great people I got to meet, and I really learned that they serve the public, and there's a lot that they have to consider, but the thoughtfulness of the big giant amount of in the Senate and Assembly down in Carson City, there's a lot of really great people, and a lot of people really want this, even though some are very foreign to this sort of tax incentive thing and and it's kind of scary and right, but everybody had a real open mind if it's presented in the right way. Lobbyists got in the way of the last bill, to be honest. That's why it got crushed. Greasy fingers dropped that bill. I didn't drop that bill. Greasy fingers did that, man. And I promise you. Because they didn't have anybody's interest up here, that's for sure. Certainly they have my interests up here. I live here. What about me? I can't film up here? Yeah. Get me all triggered, get me all fired up. Yeah, and I learned that when I'm screaming, don't box me out, then they're like, hey, that's like the state kind of saying, like, don't fence us in or whatever the heck it is, right? I'm like, I love it. I feel very Nevadan. Let's go. Come on.
Would you like to name any greasy finger names?
No, those are lobbyists. those are lobbyists that didn't have. Look, and it's not even. I think it's the act, and it's not even the person. It's the act that's not considering somebody. There's a selfish act in there somewhere, and I get triggered by selfish acts, and I always will. when it's just about you, right? Or money or whatever it is. It's not considering, you know. I knew I was right. Why? Because I was considering all Nevadans deserve this opportunity as well, not just Clark County. And what do I do with being right? You know, it doesn't serve me, but that's how I operate in life, and well, that's how I always will.
It's shocking when politicians don't do the right thing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think money gets involved, and it's, you know, dissuades people's.
But
I think things get a little clouded for people.
There have been places, and you know this, and you mentioned Georgia, where film tax credits have worked really well. Others, the return has not been. I don't want to debate that part, but
yeah.
Jeremy Renner, from what I understand, is a fairly well-known guy. Mm-hmm. And fairly powerful within Hollywood now. Couldn't you just say, I'm making my next movie at Lake Tahoe and we're going to go do it?
Yeah. I mean, I shot the show here.
Yeah.
The one thing I was producing and doing, like, I'm trying to not work so much so I can go be a dad, right?
Yeah, so, good for you.
You know, I wanted to do it when I was filming Hawkeye, but, you know, if you could find competitive tax incentives, then they would have been here in 2 seconds. And that's when I got the idea. That was like 3 years ago, just before the pandemic. And then, so that I've been thinking about this for a while, but like, oh, I wish we had the tax incentives that are even close to compete. And then like we could actually just film it, right? But then we have to build the stages and things. It's a whole little thing. It's a big undertaking, right? To create new industry in a town, right? The mines are drying up and the thing, like, what else we got? We gotta do this. Can't just be blackjack dealers all our lives. We gotta do something else, right? We got to figure out something else for our kids, right? What are they going to do?
I guess the issue is that if you're going to play the game like we did, meaning Nevada, with Tesla and tax incentives, it's the same thing. You're competing against other states, and so people making the movies will say, why should I come to Nevada and make a movie when there's no incentives, but I can go to X state where, I mean, that's really the issue, right?
Yeah, that's the issue, yeah. But if the tax incentives are available here, then industry will then be created, and that's why you do it. And the only reason to give the tax incentives is to create the jobs. You know, it's for the community. You don't want people to come here, film, takes the tax credits, and then leave. No, this should be for, right? It should feed jobs for the community, and that's it.
So,
and that's what we're going to work on, and that's, you know, and it's very, very, very doable.
You think we're going to get there?
I think so. I think so.
Well,
I don't know when. I mean, I don't know if it's, you know, special session or if it's 2025 or whatever, but I think we'll get there.
Do you think that there is an urgency that we should have a special session? Because 2025 is a long ways away.
I'm impatient. I think we should do it today. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It should have happened already, man, right? It should have happened already.
Part of your, excuse me, getting involved with this and with the community is, I think you want to do some stuff with UNR as well. Talk a little bit about what discussions you've had. The President Sandoval was here.
That even became, you know, this is all, you know, such a new process for me with this bill that came to my head, and then now I'm talking with Sandoval and walking this campus, which has ended up being so beautiful. And I love education. I love kids. These are like all things I'm about, right? And then I got to meet these, which again, it circles with all the things that I love in life. And they have this great grant that gives pretty much a free ride for these foster kids that age out, so they can go get an education. They always have a light on there for them, and I got to meet these kids. Some of them were graduating. And I sat down with these kids, and this is over the summertime. And then I got to meet some of the school faculty and stuff like that, and I'm going to be faculty there at some point. I'll probably be teaching my daughter there at the campus, and then, you know, to really, like, they have the journalism school is really kind of pumped up there, and maybe I can pump up the film and theater school over there, and easy for me to bring in really exciting people from LA, you know, to make it really exciting for them. It's a layup for me. I love how it's kind of ran over there. I mean, I really would be honored if my daughter would go to school there and then be in this community. I really, really would love that. And yeah, it's great, man. I guess now I'm a part of the wolf pack. I suppose, you know. I just was speaking with Sandoval. So Sandoval is like, you know, I think he's in his his sweet spot in life, you know, not being governor anymore. He's he's just being the president of the
I've never seen him
university.
so happy.
Oh,
I've
and he
known him
really
for a
is.
long time.
I think he's in the sweet spot in his
Yeah.
life where, like, you know, he feels like, you know, he's in his zone, he's in his lane, right? And I like that, and I feel that. And it allows him, we have really creative ideas together about the university. And, you know, I told him, like, I mean, I really will do anything. I mean, my dad was an educator and worked in the UC system in Stanislaus, and where I'm from, all my life. And I'd love to be a part of it in somehow, some way, no matter what it is.
Sandoval's kind of like you. You're both so goddamn optimistic and sunny all the time. How do you guys do that?
To me, it's a one-way street, or it's a slippery slope, man.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I mean?
a great way
if
to
it's not a
describe-
one-way street, then it's very slippery. And
So I got to ask you this question because it's somewhat personal to me. But you mentioned the journalism school. I'm wondering about your experiences with the media and what your view is of the media. I mean, you played a well-known reporter in a movie, which, if you have not seen the movie, you should see "Kill the Messenger." Because that guy, Gary Webb, is that his name? Yeah, I mean that is some story, right?
Yeah.
I mean, tragic in a way, right?
Yeah.
At the end, but what is Jeremy Renner's view of the media?
Oh, I don't know, man. I'd always avoid it if I could, you know. I think journalism is important. I just don't want to talk to him. Personally, right?
You're here tonight. We appreciate
there's a
it.
vampire quality that can come out of it, right? You know, there's this salaciousness, right? That just sort of negates any quality journalism, right? That looks at both sides. Who has the time with the TikTok age where you got to keep a kid's attention for 15 seconds, let alone learn both sides of the story? I mean, it's pretty tough, you know, real journalism, but it's important. I don't think the narrative should ever go away. It's an anchor point, I think. It's where truth and decisions can be made and opinions can be formed out of real journalism, right? But where is the market for that? I don't know, but...
Sure as hell hope there is one.
Well, no, yeah. It should always be there. I think that's where real opinions can be formed in real journalism. But, you know, you're talking to a movie star where people just want to vampire you and, like, take a little clip and, like, oh, he said this, and then they take every third word and, like, make their own headline so they get more clicks.
Right.
So, you know, fuck those guys.
Yeah. We're in full agreement on that sentiment.
Yeah.
I
think my time is up. I'm gonna get canceled or Me Too'd or something on this deal.
Yeah, so I do want to keep you for a little longer because I think.
Oh, great.
Because I think.
I'm holding it together.
Because I think ending on a "fuck those guys" note might not be good. Tell me.
It's selfish, right? It's just selfish, right? I hate selfishness.
Tell me a little bit about things we haven't talked about, Jeremy. What other projects you got going that might be interesting to the people here up in Reno?
Look, I'll tell you what, man. There's a strike that's going on. So
I was going to ask you about that.
That's, you know, I'm here in support. I'm definitely in support of that, and because we don't have the strike, we wouldn't have the industry anymore at all. It would just crumble within 6 months, even. It's very, very important what's happening, and it'll all come around. And, you know, I got to do Mayor of Kingstown 3, you know, season 3 next year probably. Right. So work will always be kind of, you know, there for me for a minute, but I'm really focused on recovery. I'm very focused on this foundation, which is a lot of work, boy, to get it off the ground. But I'm really enjoying it, and that's going to take up my year. That's going to take up my year, man, and excited about that. And then I have to be taken away to go work again. That's fine. But I'd rather really just focus. I wish I didn't have to go do Mayor of Kingstown, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. I'd rather focus on the things that I'm doing right now, and because I really enjoy it. I'm really connected to it. I'm connected to people that are helping me. There's a lot of them are here. It has such value to me. It doesn't keep the lights on, right? So I gotta go to work, but But yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, look, I'm blessed to be able to go work, and I'll be excited to go do mayor. But I'm much more focused on the foundation. That's just more like, hey, me paying attention to my own mental health and well-being is also what that foundation represents, right? It's like I'm putting energy into things that feed good and feed me, and it's a wonderful thing. So I'm excited for the rest of the year. I'm happy that all my joints are working and I can kind of move around pretty good. And
yeah.
I'm not in any pain sitting here the
That's
entire
so
time.
great.
Right? It's
yeah.
just so awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got to go back in to the hospital and say, how much I love those suckers for putting me back together. And,
do you feel, are you constrained at all on the kind of roles you're going to be able to take because?
There's no limits to me, brother. I'm never limited. I'm never limited.
All right, let's
Never limited.
let's talk a little bit about movies just for a few minutes.
Okay.
Then I'm going to ask the audience some Jeremy Renner trivia. Okay?
I won't know it though.
What is Jeremy Renner's favorite movie? I'm just curious.
I don't believe in favorites, but if I was going to pick 3 movies and be stuck in Las Vegas, I suppose, being stuck on an island, yeah, I would be like, let's see. Or, I think an interesting question to do is like, what movies have you seen 25 times or more?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Instead of a favorite movie, because, I love The Jungle Book, 1967, animated.
Oh, wow.
All the music in that.
Yeah,
I grew up there as a kid, and my daughter knows all those songs, Bare Necessities, right? Amazing. Love that movie. And the themes in it are great. Clockwork Orange is always great. Thought that was, it's pretty out there, kooky, right? I love Braveheart. It's got a lot of great, cool themes in it, which I loved, very emotional. I've seen quite a few movies.
That's
a lot
nice.
Of times, so
Clockwork Orange is in my top 5, so that's
there you go. Yeah,
that's a
Shawshank Redemption. I think I've seen probably a good 35 times. That's beautiful, beautiful film.
Well, what's the favorite movie that you've done that you've worked on? Can you name one?
No, again, favorites is just a bad word. I just don't use that. I mean, I enjoyed the blessing and the opportunity on every one of them. Doesn't mean they're all as interesting an experience, but I loved The Hurt Locker, even though that was very difficult. Right, got to learn so much as a man.
Yeah.
Being in the Middle East during the war.
Yeah.
I love the physicality of certain movies. Doing stunt roles was like being a professional athlete, and had to act as if that, and had to really train for that. And so I was just blessed to learn and grow. If I felt like I was bored in something, then I probably would have enjoyed it. But I always got to learn something, so I gotta grab something out of it.
So, is the greatest Oscar snub in history that Amy Adams wasn't even nominated for Arrival? Is that the greatest snub ever?
I don't know. I mean, she's tremendous. I think in everything she does. Yeah, I think she was so great in that. I loved that film.
Tremendous movie, it is.
Yeah.
Is the most underrated Jeremy Renner movie Wind River? I love that movie.
Yeah, it was, interesting enough. That was, to me, that's, one of my more favorite movies because it was closest to who I am as a man, and it represented, thematically, themes in my life. Seeing pop buttons, I told you. I pop buttons. But it represented a lot of, with indigenous women and the mistreatment of women. And what happened with that is that was the beginning of, Harvey Weinstein bought that movie, and then we all know what happened with Harvey Weinstein, right?
Yeah.
So that's where it's kind of tragic, It's like, wow, this little movie, now no one would touch because it had Harvey's name on it. So the tribes had to buy the film back and do this thing. We were threatening to take our names off of it.
Yeah.
Taylor Sheridan, who does the Mayor of Kingstown, that was his first film with me, and we were all threatening to take our names off of it to support the film, and Yeah, so the timing of that. So underrated, I don't know. It was just the timing of it. So you know,
Yeah.
it's still out there for people to see, and people will see it.
People should see it. That is a great movie. It's interesting because, of course, Taylor Sheridan really cares about indigenous.
Yeah.
He's addressed it in some of his other work
Yeah.
as well. And good for you for doing it. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to end. I don't want you to pop any more buttons.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's the surgery weight. I told him. I was in Hawkeye shape, and now I'm in that guy shape. You know, I just.
So
you
we're
know,
just.
I can't lose the weight that fast. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask the audience 5 Jeremy Renner movie
It's
trivia
no joke.
questions. Yeah.
I popped my button. I have a look. I have a safety pin on my top button. Now I'm popping the vest button. It's embarrassing. Told you I would.
I guarantee.
I blame you, Hillary.
I guarantee no one will remember that from this night. All right, five trivia questions. Shout out the answers if you know them, and we'll see if Jeremy even knows them. They're very easy questions. So, what movie was Jeremy Renner in with Charlize Theron? North Country.
Nice,
Someone
nice.
got it. Very
Nice.
good. What movie was Jeremy Renner in with Brad Pitt? Anybody know? No, we got him on this one. Do you remember?
Assassination of Jesse James.
Exactly.
By the coward Robert
That's
Ford.
Another great movie if you have not seen it.
Yeah,
That's a great
yeah.
movie. What 2 movies has Jeremy Renner received Oscar nominations for? Hurt Locker. What's the other one? The Town. They got it. That's bad.
I know.
What movie besides Arrival was Jeremy Renner in with Amy Adams? Very good, American Hustle.
Nice.
Well done.
I was a mayor in that as well.
That's right, exactly.
Carmine Polito.
Exactly.
Hey, I've been a mayor twice. Check yourself.
So, I think there's the last one. I think there's only one answer to this, but Jeremy will correct me if I'm wrong. What movie was Jeremy Renner in with one of his Marvel co-stars that was not a Marvel movie? Yeah, see, people already knew. Wind River, Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's been a huge pleasure having you here tonight. Thanks for coming. Let's have a round of applause for Jeremy Renner.
Thanks you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much, man.
Appreciate it, man.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.